What's up, friends and strangers? My hard-rocking guest today hails from Boston. We talk about staying true to yourself in songwriting, supporting other artists, and how he has assembled a band to play his songs. Check it out. So I've got Josh here with number 9 in Octavate. Josh also, in addition to being a multi-instrumentalist, is also part of a radio channel. We're going to learn more about that. Josh, a super interesting songwriter, very atypical. Almost nothing I've listened to of yours so far has been in 4/4. It's been real fun to try to count and figure out what in the world's going on with some of this stuff. But brother, tell us a little bit about you. How long have you been playing? What really inspired you to become a musician? Tell us more about Josh.
Yeah, so we've all. I got to start with I'm a Gen Xer, and I believe that Gen X was exposed to and really thrown into the mix of more genres directly than I think any other generation. I mean, think about it. I used to sit in the little closet playing my Legos while my parents would cook dinner, and they put the headphones on me, and I'd be listening to Led Zeppelin 2, Led Zeppelin 3, Doors, Morrison Hotel, Jimi Hendrix, and Dark Side of the Moon, my favorite all-time album.
Yeah.
And so when I was 3, that's what I was listening to with my parents. And then, the 80s come and you hear like, Metallica, metal being born, really, like just after Sabbath, metal like really coming to its fruition. And I was there when it happened. And when, Run DMC came out and, rap was born, I was there when it was like pulled out of the womb, you know?
Yeah.
Which was, and then like hair metal. I mean, the big change from what we were hearing from, Aerosmith and that, like the visuals and it was different and it was there for that. And then grunge, which is my real soul, I think. And then jazz. I mean, God, like think of, Miles Davis, like really getting lost in Miles Davis. All this stuff was part of me because it was going on when I was growing up. It was part of my life. And I don't know that any other generation was really exposed to such a different, mix of genres. And it's all part of me, and it's all part of like what inspires me to write, and what inspires me like as a musician and songwriting to all these different genres. So it's funny when people are like, what genre is your music, or like what's your genre influence. Whenever the genre comes out, it's like pigeonhole yourself,
right?
And it's like I can't, because I mean I was born like loving Prince and Michael Jackson and Winger, and
right.
and like in the same on the same ride to school. So it's like it's impossible. So you'll probably hear a little bit of all of that in my songwriting and in the different projects that I do, because there's something inside me that wants to come out. It wants you to hear how I interpret how, what Prince is trying to tell me.
Sure.
So it's, I think, growing up with all of those influences, starting with my parents, and then my uncle was actually in a band who opened for Aerosmith.
Wow.
In a band called Willow. So he was my hero.
Yeah.
And when he passed away from cancer a couple of years ago, I got 2 of his Gibson SGs, and so I tried to bring him with me wherever I go. And I played his guitars live on stage and in Boston before, and I felt good about that. And some of my songs recorded I've been using his guitars. So that's another influence that kind of drove me to create and want to be an artist in the music world. He would
Sure.
play. He played
Uh,
a double neck guitar
yeah.
and the keyboard at the same time, and he would be playing the keyboard and playing here and singing. And I was like, man, this guy's like ridiculous. So he never
Yeah.
told me about the Aerosmith about the Aerosmith. It was my aunt who used to brag about it. He would be like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I was just in one of those shows we played." And
So
yeah.
you have the two main projects. So you have Number Nine, and you have
Hmm.
Octavate.
Yep.
So what? Tell us about both of those.
Yeah. So the way I think of it, um, where we are right now, this is my studio.
Yeah.
Um, all the magic happens right here.
Hmm.
All the songs you heard were actually recorded right here. Most of them were me playing everything except the drums.
Hmm.
And Octavate, I have SV singing for me, who's a friend,
Hmm.
and a great singer.
Yeah.
But Octavate and Number Nine, and something I had a long time ago, the Jack Prost band, were all written by me.
Okay.
So I come down here when I get inspired, whether it's like a bass line or a guitar riff or a chant, or even like a cadence, like a beat. I'll try
Sure.
to find that beat here and replicate it, and then I'll lay things over it. And I'll come down and I'll just start laying tracks down until the vision that I had in my head um, be, becomes complete, and then I can actually um, complete it, if that makes sense. So
Totally.
becomes complete in my head because I know what I want it to sound like, but I might not know exactly every note. So I'll come down here and just work on it for weeks, months, sometimes years,
Hmm.
sometimes just a couple days, depending on how easy it is for me to get it out.
Sure.
And then I create the demo, and Octavate is the band that I recruited so I could play it live. I got to a point where I was writing so much music, and I just felt like I need to share this other than on Spotify and um, Amazon.
Right.
I need to share this and feel the love back from actual people. And I just wanted to play live again. It's been so long.
Hmm.
So I recruited the band Octavate, the four other guys, and taught them the songs and allowed them to make little changes and input, but not to like change the song.
Hmm.
And we went out and started playing the circuit. And in less than a year, we were nominated for the best hard rock metal act of 2023 in the New England Music Awards, which is
Wow.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
To be playing with this band in under a year. So that was like a huge accomplishment, but it was like a good pat on the back, you know. Uh, but Octavate is basically the band that plays my music.
Hmm.
I hear the sun rise over northern skies. I see the breeze wind in a change. Another day breaks, but we don't know why. Why is it broken? Can I exchange?
So it seems like you're kind of walking a tightrope between, being more of a traditional band and um, having higher guns.
Yep.
And that's so the band that I'm in is American Contraband, and we're a little bit more traditional. These same guys we've been playing together for almost 5 years now.
Nice.
So tell us maybe a little bit about that. Like it's dealing perhaps with egos and things like that. Is it just kind of nipping it in the bud from the beginning? Like this is really the song. This is really how it goes. Like, did you have any trial and error, with other musicians?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough when you have a vision
Mm-hmm.
and you want it to come to fruition, and you're playing with people who want to change it.
Right.
Sometimes I think it's okay to be like, okay, yeah, I like that. That's better.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do like I like your way better, so let's do it. But
Sure.
if you don't say that and you say, no, I don't think I like it that way. That's not the way that I envisioned it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to worry about hurting their feelings.
Right.
Right. And you have to worry about then coming back and saying, well, I want to contribute my art as well. So it's hard. You get into those situations, and for me, what my philosophy has always been is, if you're the songwriter, you're the champion of the song, right?
Right.
You come, you bring the song, and the rest of the band, I believe, should say, I will do everything I can to make your vision come true, and I'll offer my own artistic contributions. If you don't like it, that's fine. I won't. My feelings won't be hurt,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll get it done for you. And when I come with my ideas, I expect the same.
Right.
Or when you come with your ideas, I will do the same thing. If you don't like my bass line, even though I like mine better,
Mm-hmm.
it's your vision. And as a band member, I will do whatever I can to make your vision come true, because you're the artist, and that's really important.
Yeah.
And I don't think that everybody has that same approach. And for me, when I have a vision about how I want my art to be brought to life, I can't compromise. It's just like my visions are my beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
And when I want to express my belief, I wouldn't want someone else to come in and say, well, you believe something a little bit different. You don't really believe that. You believe this, but just allow it.
Yeah.
I can't. I can't. So what I think would be great is, when the band comes together, we play together, we
Mm-hmm.
create together. When we're doing it live, when I'm bringing my bass line, and everybody else is bringing their stuff, and that's a great way to collaborate and contribute. But for my own song, when I have a vision, I want the rest of the band to help me bring it to life, just like I would do for them. And it's hard to find musicians like that, because
Mm-hmm.
not all of them write. You know,
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them come and they want you to play on the gig, set up their practice space, and have a song for them to learn, and allow them to play it the way they want. And I don't think it's right.
Yeah.
It's hard, and it's hard to find the people who can agree to that.
Right. Sure.
So right now I'm actually working with the drummer for Octavate, and we are 100% in line.
Mm-hmm.
He's bringing some music that I'm loving, helping him bring to fruition, and he's doing the same for me.
Mm-hmm.
So the next iteration of Octavate is going to be a lot less of my songs and a lot more of collaboration in his
Sure.
songs, and I'm really excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not a control freak in that I want only my music to be played only my way. I'm just saying that I want my songs to be played the way that I envision them, and we're writing his songs the way he envisions them too, and I'm really excited about that because he's freaking awesome.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, David is he's been the voice of reason for Octavate since we started gigging.
Mm-hmm.
He also plays keyboards, and
Right
he's
on.
actually the best musician in the latest iteration of Octavate. So it's kind of cool to have him helping me in saying, oh, try one note above that one instead.
Sure.
Oh yeah, look at that. You know, like um, it's pretty cool. It's been really fun working with him and really digging deep into some new songs and new sounds.
So what's your goal, I guess, with Octavate, and is that the direction that you want to go? Is this, or is it more like that's just for playing out live, having fun every now and then? Or are you trying to build that band?
That's a good question. So
Yeah.
I don't have any like fame and fortune um, dreams or anything like that. I just love to write music.
Mm-hmm.
I just I love creating and sharing it and you know, talking to you about it and you know, hearing back every once in a while that, you know, oh, we like your song. I love how you did what you did, especially when it's from people who get music, who are like, you know, I couldn't tell that was a 7/8 until, you know, like I'm just like a geek like that. So
Yeah. So looking at even just the number of Spotify streams that you have, all that kind of stuff, I know a lot of people, place a lot of stock in that, but you're obviously connecting with a crowd. So you're finding your audience
mhm.
somehow, some way, and yeah, how do you get to 60,000 streams on one song?
I don't know. Facebook,
Yeah.
you know, like I, uh, I I go down my Facebook feed all the time, and I learn about new artists and follow them, and I reach out and I say, dude, I love your tone on your guitar. What guitar are you using? What do you, you
Hmm.
know? And they're like from, I realize they're from like the UK, and they have, you know, like I don't even know how many streams they have, but, and they reach back out and they're like, you know, we talk and we make a connection. And they're like, hey, I'm making a playlist. I'll put you on. What song do you want? And I'll I'll throw them the song I want.
Hmm.
And, you know, you can troll other, well, not troll, but like scroll through um, other Facebook groups that are like sharing indie music, find the right ones, post my song that's most probably related to that particular genre, and just do that weekly.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, I don't know how else to do it. You
Sure.
can't buy it because you get like kicked off of Google, get Spotify for that.
Right. Yeah.
Um, so it's, you know, just time and sharing with people and having other people put you on their playlists, and it's like a community thing. Like
Hmm.
I do the same thing. Like I'll make a playlist, and I'll post something and say everybody share your best song, and then, you know, it's like I think it's the indie crowd is really supporting each other.
Right.
And I think when you can make a lot of connections with people who have people who listen to the playlist, that's the way to do it.
Hmm. For sure.
I wish I had an easy answer, like you know what I mean, like,
Right.
oh, there's a service that you can get, and
Yeah.
but there's not.
No, no, there's not, and there's a ton of videos, out there, how to get 1,000 followers in 24 hours and stuff like that, and it's of course all bullshit.
Yeah,
Somebody selling
and
something,
then
but
yeah, exactly.
yeah. So when it comes to the marketing for all of your different projects, are you the one that's kind of doing all of that? Are you delegating anything to the other members of Octavate in particular?
Nope, it's just me.
Okay,
And right now there are no other members of Octavate besides David, the drummer.
gotcha.
So we're no longer touring with the two guitarists and the lead singer.
Hmm.
Right now, David and I are just working on creating new music for the next album, and then we're going to recruit a new band.
Right on.
So and it's always been me um, doing all the legwork, and uh, self-taught. Like I have no idea what I'm doing. I just, you know, follow a link. I'm like a private investigator. Follow a link,
Yeah.
follow a link, follow a link. Finally, find someone, reach out, listen to their music, and or like listen to what they have to do, and you know, when I like it, which I usually do,
Hmm.
reach out and say, hey man, good job. I love what you're doing. and just creating connections, and that's basically what I do.
Yeah. I want to talk to you about your goals. So, do you just
Mm.
want to be able to just continue doing what you're doing? Assemble these bands, and go out and get that performance high, or are you trying to become a ghostwriter or something like that?
I would love to I would love to get to the next level.
Hmm.
Um, I'm a dad, happily married husband with two kids. I have a career in technology, so I'm not a full-time musician, and I don't have time to dedicate that the same amount of time that other bands and musicians can dedicate to not only practicing,
Hmm.
but doing all the stuff that's needed to do to get to the next level.
Yeah.
So I'm just doing everything I can to share my stuff, and maybe someone who works for a label, or maybe a label will notice, or maybe someone else, I don't even know, will notice my songs, and might think that they are good enough to help move forward to the next level, and that would be very cool.
Yeah.
Maybe when we start touring, we start getting bigger bills.
Hmm.
Right now, we're in the scene of Boston, on the biggest circuit, but not playing the largest amount of shows. Like, we're not opening for Jane's Addiction, which would be awesome.
Sure.
Like we're playing the three band bills at the well known Boston and Worcester shows,
Hmm.
which is awesome. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. So, I mean, I would love to be able to play some bigger venues. I would love to be discovered as someone who is worthy of, uh, you know, getting into commercial.
Hmm.
But I don't have the. Uh, I don't think that I'm going to get there. Just because it's so hard and it requires so much work, time, and I I don't have the time.
Right.
I have a job, and I'm a husband and a father,
Yep.
so I just don't have the time that other really dedicated people have.
Hmm.
So like, what I want to do is make sure that I can continue writing music, because that's my real passion,
Right.
and hopefully people listen to the lyrics and connect with it somehow.
Hmm.
Listen to the beats, and it moves them.
Yeah.
And the more people I can influence like that, and make a connection with,
Hmm.
then that's cool.
Yeah. So, when you were talking about you're doing most, if not all of your recording and engineering in your studio where you're at right now, right?
Hmm. Yep.
And so you're passing that on to a mixer, presumably.
Yeah. Yeah. So I record all the tracks here, and I have a producer, or yeah, a producer who's basically mixes and masters my stuff. His name is Trevor Boggs. He's out of Cleveland, Ohio. He
Okay.
does some great stuff, and it's all done online. It's like the new wave.
Right.
I plug into my computer. I have my interfaces. I use PreSonus Studio One,
Hmm.
and I just plug right in and put my headphones on, and I just go to work. And when I have all my tracks done the way I think they need to be, I send them to Trevor, and he mixes and masters them. We go through some rounds, and when it's perfect for me, that's what you hear on Spotify.
Yeah.
It's easy as that.
Yeah.
I have
And
not recorded an album in a studio.
wow.
That's one experience that I would love to have,
Sure.
um, for fun. But
Hmm.
right now it's like, I'm doing my art is getting out there the way I want it to, this way, and it's pretty cool.
Absolutely. And your songs, they really sound great. I would say definitely keep that drummer as long as you can, because drummers that can
Yeah,
switch up time like that and play in all these odd time signatures, those are not
mm,
easy to find. That's not your average
yeah,
bar band drummer. So,
yeah. David's amazing. He's
mhm.
so good.
Yeah, he does a great job.
Mm.
Um,
You should
so
see him live.
yeah, right on, right on. But yeah, I want to talk about some of your songs. So the first introduction that I had to you was the song "Thanos is Right," and so you have a
Yep.
few songs there that have a particular theme.
Yeah.
So "Alien" was another one of them, and then I think there's kind of a third in that series. What was that song?
Hmm. The virus.
"The Virus." That's right. Yeah.
Hmm.
So talking about overpopulation. So can you tell
Yeah.
us, I guess, kind of some of your beliefs there?
Yeah. So first, I'll say music is the vehicle that helps me express my thoughts, beliefs, and emotions.
Sure.
Right. And I think that a lot of consumers don't like that. They want me to, or they want artists to play and sing something that doesn't go against their beliefs, or
Mm.
else be quiet. I didn't come here to hear your beliefs. I came here to hear your music.
Yeah. Shut up and
But
play.
they don't read.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they don't
Yeah.
realize that the artist is a human who
Hmm.
has beliefs, and this is we're not doing this to make you change your mind.
Right.
This is just the way we express our feelings,
Hmm.
and that's what I'm doing. And one of the strongest feelings, beliefs that I have is about the way we're treating this planet,
Yeah.
which is really horrible. I mean, overpopulation is the elephant in the room. It's the thing that everyone is afraid to talk about. Everyone's like, "Oh, we're over farming, we're overfishing," um, but no one's asking why.
Hmm.
Why are we over farming, overfishing? Why are we cutting down all the forests? You know, everyone's focused on, oh, is it really the automotive industry, or is it the farming industry that's like killing the ozone layer? But that's where they stop. Like they don't take another step and say, regardless of what it is,
Hmm.
why is all this happening? And the reason it's happening is because we need to feed so many people. We need
Hmm.
to feed more people than there is fish in the ocean, than there are cows. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's my belief that we're just killing the planet in order to feed more people than the planet can hold. And if that's not true right now, it's going to be true very soon. And I read a lot about this. I believe in climate change, and I believe that overpopulation is a problem. I mean, if you look at the charts of population, it's going up and up and up and up.
Hmm.
Like, there's nothing that's going to make it go down right now.
Right.
There's no plan to stop it. So, how far is it going to go up before someone says, "Oh my God," you know what I mean?
Right.
And that's so I write a lot about that. Like people need to open their eyes and understand that we need to see these trends now in order to do something about it, so our kids, grandkids, great grandkids aren't left with a problem that we're just like looking away. We're afraid to look at.
Right.
Um, because it's uncomfortable to talk about, and there's no solution that is viable right now.
Right.
So Thanos was right. Is I don't know if you're familiar with Marvel or not.
Oh yeah.
Uh, so Thanos was portrayed as a bad guy because he, snapped his fingers and killed 33 or 66 or 33%, I can't remember,
Hmm.
of the planets that were facing extinction because of the same thing that we're facing.
Right.
And so they portrayed him as a bad guy, but did a pretty good job of bringing to light the fact that, or they let him say his piece, which makes total sense. If I didn't do that, your planet is going to die of starvation, and it's going to be horrible.
Mm-hmm.
So what I just did is I gave you, like, 1,000 more years,
Right.
and maybe you can figure it out. But he was portrayed as the bad guy, but the way I see it is Thanos was right. I read a lot about that, and that's the virus is about the fact that we are the virus of the planet. Matrix,
Right. Yeah.
did a great job. What's the guy's name?
Mr. Smith.
Yes, Mr.
Yeah.
Smith
Mm-hmm.
did a great job of saying there's another. Humans overpopulate and they destroy everything. And there's one other species on the planet that does that.
Mm-hmm.
It's the virus. And it just rang a bell, and he's right. So it's sad, but it's my favorite thing to write about.
Sure. No, I understand. It's important. And we need to think about what kind of world we're going to leave for Keith Richards and Willie Nelson, right?
Yeah.
Right. So you were talking about kind of the audience response and maybe their expectation. And it reminded me of seeing this post that a guy said, I used to like Rage Against the Machine until they got all political. And Tom Morello responded, like, what songs did you hear that weren't political? Because I'll delete them immediately. Right. Yeah. And so, yeah, I would say in America especially that we have this idea of that goods are unlimited, that, that the planet can continue to sustain us for forever. Doesn't matter, how much we're setting it on fire and, digging it up and all that everything's fine. Like, don't worry about it. Just keep buying, keep consuming, keep feeding the, capitalist machine here. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And but the real problem is that poor people just want to take all your stuff from you. It seems to be kind of the the popular idea these days.
They want it for free.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not that these huge mega corporations are, destroying the planet. It's everything's fine there. Yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess let's try to bring it back to music. You were talking about using PreSonus. I have a friend that's using that, and I'm kind of blown away. I'm using Logic Pro right now, and I'm feeling like, man, did I make a mistake? Because PreSonus seems really cool.
From what I see, they're all exactly the same.
Yeah.
Like I've sat in on sessions where the producer has what's the main one?
Pro Tools.
Yeah, Pro Tools. And I was like, and I had to double take because I'm like, oh my god, this is the same thing as PreSonus. They're really the same thing.
Yeah.
They're tracks, and you can do everything that any musician or producer wants to do to those tracks. There's no tool that can't do what you want to do. They all do it the same way. It's just the button's in a different place.
Right. Yeah.
So So I mean, what you have it's fine. They're all great.
And I still have like the vanilla version of it too. I haven't gotten into the plugins and all that stuff. And maybe that's kind of where it's at.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems like it's never been easier to create and promote music. I will say to
Mm-hmm.
record and promote music, perhaps. And
Yep.
I think because of that, it creates all these new challenges. So
Mm-hmm.
how do we cut through the noise? How do we, find our audience?
Mm-hmm.
There's just kind of a sea of information, you know,
Yeah.
and I think that doing what you're doing, really going out there and trying to market yourself and finding other musicians is definitely the only way I can think of to really get started. But you're also part of this radio collective or something like that. I'm
Yeah.
not totally sure. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. Wave Radio Boston. It's a great. Uh, it's a great radio station. It's located in Lowell, which is just outside of Boston,
Mm-hmm.
and their tagline is "We say FU to FM."
Yeah.
It's not commercial. The everybody there who has a show does it for the same reason that you and I are doing what we're doing now, because
Mm-hmm.
we love music. We understand that there's some local bands who are way better than many commercial bands that are out there and putting in front of people's faces.
Right.
And we have them in, we talk to them, and it's just it's an amazing support group. And Wave Radio Boston is like it's like at the soul of what's going on in Boston right now.
Hmm.
They're great, and so I used to have a show. I don't have it the show anymore, just because I've been I don't have a lot of time. I don't
Sure.
have a lot of extra time on my hands, so I chose the band because I had to. But I had a show at on Sunday nights called Harmonic Headspace, and what we used to do was every show was every show has a theme.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it would be deep dive on Radiohead.
Okay.
Maybe it would be songs about space.
Okay.
One of my favorites was songs that have no changes in them.
Mm.
And we would just deep dive on different themes, and I would be the harmonic guy because I'm the musician, and my buddy Astro, who is in the vinyl industry,
Mm-hmm.
would do the headspace, and he would always like smoke a little during the show and after
Sure.
the show and before the show. And so we would just chat and deep dive on all these different things, and it was so fun. And we would have local bands in, and they could play live. Would talk to them and pick their brains about stuff, and it was so awesome connecting to other musicians and artists on the Boston music scene, and talk about the same things that we're talking about now, like what's your approach to running as a band, what's your approach to recording,
Mm-hmm.
what are your songs about, and talking to different bands in the area about that, and then just like geeking out about music.
Yeah.
It was so cool. And Wave Radio Boston, like I said, it's like the soul of Boston right now.
Mm-hmm.
Them and Boston Emissions, Angel Wood at Boston Emissions is another one who just really are in touch with and plug into the community. And whatever shows are going on, they promote it. They're there at shows,
Mm-hmm.
and it's so cool to be plugged in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, very cool. It seems like very few towns have anything like that. I know there's nothing like that in my area. That commercial, these mega corporations that bought up all the small radio stations. There's like one guy that does programming for every rock station on the West Coast.
Mm.
And
Oh,
the
wow.
local DJs don't get to pick anything that they're playing. It's just the stuff that pays to get played.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's really awesome that you guys have what seems like so retro and old school to me. But really it's the way that it should be, because it's a way that
It's the
you
way
can,
that it should be.
right.
Totally.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
as a
and
local
we
musician
had
in my area, I can't, there's not a single radio station that I could go talk to and be like, hey, I've got these new songs out. Can you play them? No. Can we do an interview?
Oh, that
No.
sucks.
You can pay me to advertise it, though, is pretty much the way that it works. So,
Yeah.
it does suck.
Yeah, so Wave Radio Boston has shows every night. You can email them and send them your stuff, and they look and they'll be like, oh, I think you would probably be best on this show.
Yeah.
And they'd hook you up with that DJ, and then they would book you. And they bring you in and they just pick your brain, and it's great. It's not like the boring interview where they ask the same questions all the time. Like it's like this. Like we have a deep conversation about what we care about, and
Yeah.
that's what artists want, and that's what the people want too. Like you don't want to hear the same answers from artists. You
Right.
want to like pick their brain. That's what's important, and that makes you feel like you're there. So, yeah, it's there's something brewing in Boston. I'll tell you that. Not just like the radio stations and the fact that they're doing that, but there's a great music scene in Boston right now.
Yeah.
And it's not just Boston. There's like 3 towns in Massachusetts that really are booming right now. There's Boston, Lowell, and Worcester. They're all within like an hour's distance, and I would say like punk is like there's more punk shows than anything going on right now in Boston and Worcester, and it's pretty cool. And I never loved punk when I was growing up, but in playing with Octavate over the last couple of years, we've had to play with some punk bands because, like, when you feel a bill, you always don't, you can't always control who's on the bill.
Right.
So someone would invite you, and would be like, "Oh yeah, Tuesday night at O'Brien's, I'm in." Like as long as the guys can get there, and it didn't matter. Like no one would be like, "Oh wait, who's playing?"
Right.
It wouldn't be that. It would be like, "Yeah, I'm in," and then, "Oh, by the way, who's playing?" And like so many times we get hooked up with like a metal band, a punk band, and then us, and it would be cool. We'd meet the guys and figure out like who their influences were, and be like, oh yeah, I totally love the Ramones too. Like it's really cool. But punk seems like it's the biggest thing that's going on right now in Boston. A lot of punk bands, a lot of cool new punk. I think there's a thing called new punk where they're a little bit more melodic, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, right on. That's super cool. So most of the venues there, how do they operate? It's my understanding, in some of the bigger areas that as a band you have to pay to play and then try to recoup your money at the door, or are you being paid by the venue? How's it all work?
Now, for the scene that we're playing in, you get paid by partial door and then partial how many drinks are sold.
Okay.
So there's always a cover charge, and you get like X cover until you make a certain amount, and then you get part of the drinks too. So if you pack the place, you can make a few $100.
Right on.
If you don't, maybe, $80 a band.
Ooh.
But none of us, like at least me or my band, we didn't expect to make any money. Like if we make $80 a night and we play twice a month, that almost pays for our practice space, right?
Yeah.
So it's less money out of our pockets, and we get to go out and play in a venue where there's some people who know our songs, and they come to see us, which is awesome. But what's equally as awesome is you got all the people in the other bands who stand out on the floor and they watch us play.
Yeah.
And it's like it's not like they're judging, but they're like,
Yeah. Hmm.
like, and then after the show, like, someone comes over to me and is like, dude, what pedal is that?
Yeah.
What were you using on that third song? And I'm like, and I talk to him, and I do the same thing.
Hmm.
So like, it's great to get the love from people who know the songs I wrote,
Hmm.
and it's equally great to speak with another artist who has his own idea and his own way to get a sound that I would never think of. And so $80, it doesn't matter. It's more about like that, the experience that I had that night. You can't put a price on that.
Right. For sure. I hear you. Um, so is the scene more for original bands, or are there a lot of cover bands that you end up
Oh
getting
God,
paired up with, or how's it all work out?
no. The scene is more cover bands than not.
Yeah.
Uh, the rock, there is no rock. I mean, I don't say there is none, but uh, there's a few rock clubs, maybe like 10 in the area. Otherwise, people are going out to see cover bands,
Mm.
and it kind of sucks. Um, people, like, when I was in college, I would go out to a show, to a rock club, and if I didn't know the band, it wouldn't matter. I knew the club, I knew they were going to have good music, and I would go see whoever, and I would learn about new rock bands.
Right.
People don't do that. They just don't do that anymore.
Hmm.
People go to see cover bands so they could go get drunk and sing all the words to the Journey song they know,
Yeah.
which is cool. I love it, and it's fun to play cover songs, and you get love as a musician doing that too. That's cool.
Hmm.
But it but the scene is not really geared towards, and I think the younger generation is not really geared towards going out and learning about new rock bands.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say that the music scene, maybe starting kind of mid '90s, made a huge shift to favor the individual. This is a conversation that was
Yeah,
having with my bass player the other night. You know, who
yeah,
who didn't know every member of the Beatles, like, or Led Zeppelin,
hmm,
and
right,
then that really started to change, the 80s and 90s, and thinking
mm,
about bands today, I don't think that there's a single band that's come out since the year 2000 that the average listener, even average fan, would know every member of the band. So even
right,
going to back to like a Linkin Park, you probably just know one or two,
yeah,
right? Even like Foo
yeah.
Fighters.
That's a good, yeah,
So Foo
two,
Fighters, yeah, exactly.
and
Maybe three if you
one
know
of them
Pat,
died.
right?
Yeah, Pat Smear, yeah,
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 but I have no idea who the bass player is, to be honest.
yeah,
So of like active gigging bands that I can think of that are these huge bands, Red Hot Chili Peppers was like the main one I can think of that probably everybody knows every member of the band, or the
yeah,
majority of people,
yep, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
but
Yeah, that's a good point. I never thought of that. That's a good point.
yeah, and so we saw this big shift where the labels were favoring the individuals. They'll just hire some guns, around somebody that's workable and moldable, rather than somebody
Hmm.
that's more talented.
Hmm.
If you get along with the A&R guy and are willing to do whatever it is they tell you to do, kind of dance monkey situation, then yeah, that's who's
Mm,
going to get promoted. That's who's going to make it.
yeah,
And now, more than ever, it seems like you have to be a social media expert first,
yeah.
and then hopefully you've got some music chops to back it up. But
Hmm.
it's tough. It's really tough
Yeah,
out here
I
right
feel
now.
like I feel like that's the direction I've been forced to go in.
Yeah.
Um, because the way I see it, my art I want to create, and I can't find a band who also wants to create similar art and has the time to do what I want to do.
Right.
So I'm kind of forced to be like, all right, I'm going to create my art however I can with whoever I can find to play live, whoever I can find to produce, and you know, just push it out that way, rather than find 3 to 4 other guys who have enough hours in their week at the same time as me, and who love the same music and want to go in the same direction as me, and also write like me. Like, that's impossible to find right now. It's impossible. Right. So I can't do the band thing. I can't, like, at least right now, maybe just I haven't found the right people, but I can't do the band thing. So I have to do the artist thing. I have to continue writing and doing whatever I can, finding whatever resources are available to me to make my pieces of art come to fruition.
Yeah.
The band thing is like, it's not an option.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that kind of ties back into, you know, the corporate greed and things like that we were talking about before. I mean, we're all kept so busy that, you know, following our passions, you know, isn't something that most of us are able to do. You know, I'm a dad with 2 kids as well, and you know, I work full time plus, and then, you know, trying to do something with music, and then, you know, trying to do this, you know, with being a creator, you know, a content creator and all that kind of stuff. Like, it's difficult, and it's meant to be that way. Like, the powers that be, whoever they are, you know, are keeping us busy. And
totally,
it always makes me think about, there was a class I took, an anthropology class in college, and it followed, I want to say it was the Wahari Bushmen. It was some tribe in Africa. And so the men worked 17 hours a month to, like, that was their dedicated amount of time to be able to provide for their families, for the tribe, all of that. And then the rest of it, a month, 17 hours a month. And the rest of it, you know, was filled with, you know, sharing stories, with, you know, playing with their kids, with living their lives and doing the things that they wanted to do. So granted, they didn't have, you know, the opulence that we have, but I feel like, you know, in Western society, we've strayed way too far the opposite direction. And, you know, we're spending all of our time working and none of our time really getting to enjoy it. And I don't know. It's the whole work-life totally balance, you know, and trying to figure that out. And
and you know what the benefit of all of this is?
What's that?
Money in the bank.
Yeah.
It's money in the bank, which is just a number.
Right.
You know, we're not using it. It's in the bank.
Pavement played
All right. Well, brother, this has been a fantastic talk. Really appreciate
Very
hanging
cool.
out with you. So looking forward
Cool.
to, sending you some stuff and,
Yeah,
just
let's talk.
supporting you from a distance, whatever I can do. And yeah,
Same here.
right on.
Cool.
Cool.
Matt, great talking to you. Thank you so much for having me on.
Of course.
Great to geek out about music always.
Yeah. Right on. Well, hey, thank you so much, brother. Talk to you soon.
All right, thanks. You
Bye-bye.
too. Bye-bye.